Okay, I'm going to be vulnerable right now, and I don't want you to make me regret this. Sometimes I throw pennies in the trash, and if that's illegal, I don't do that. Hi, I am Paul Bartholomew, and this is I Want to Hold Your Band. Today's guest is actor Max Chernin. He is right now in this amazing Broadway tour of the musical Parade, and it is so good, and he's so good, and the cast is so good, and the music's so good, and I'm saying so good a lot, but it is all those things. So it's at the Amundsen. It goes until July 12th. Go get tickets. Go see it. Support live theater. Anyway, we have a great conversation, and we talk about so many different artists. Marling, Lianne Havas, Chet Baker, Amos Lee, Nick Drake, Stephen Sondheim. Don't forget that the links to all the songs we talk about are in the episode description, as well as if you scroll to the bottom, I put a link to the questionnaire that Max filled out that has all of the songs that he loves and the artists and sad songs, love songs, pump-up songs. So that's really fun to take a look at. I don't do this very often, but like and subscribe. If you listen to this, I would love that. That would be wonderful, and I appreciate it. Other than that, go see Parade at the Amundsen. And without further ado, I give you Mr. Max Chernin. First piece of music, album, artist that you remember coming into your life when you were younger.
Wow. I think for me it was the Beatles.
The Beatles?
Yeah. My parents played the Beatles in the car all the time. So probably like whatever that first kind of classic Beatles album was. Like Hard Day's Night,
Hard Day's Night, like the early stuff you remember.
Yeah, real early stuff. And then like from there, I remember like watching Yellow Submarine as a kid too, and being like kind of enamored with the Beatles at first. Yeah, I would say that's like the first thing.
Where'd you grow up, first of all?
Shaker Heights, Ohio.
And when your parents played it, would it mainly be, did you say the car?
Yeah, like the car, like driving in the car, yeah.
What age was that were you remembering like?
We were driving my sister to her ballet class. So I mean, I had to be in the car probably as early as like 3, 4, 5-ish.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Older sister?
Yeah.
Would they play that music in the house?
I think the radio played a little bit more than like tapes and CDs, but it was in like our little back rec room. And then later they bought like a Iowa sound system. I came into some money winning bingo on a cruise ship with my family when I was 10.
What?
And by came into some money, I think I won like $200 or $300 or something. And I bought myself my own Iowa sound system, like 3-4 CD disc changer for my room. And my CDs were stored in a giant binder. I had a giant binder of CDs.
Do you remember the first CD that you bought for yourself? Oh,
I do. Boys to Men.
Boys to Men.
Boys to Men. I think that was my first CD. And then I also had a cassette of Kiss because I thought they were cool looking. Literally, it was the cassette case was red plastic, and the faces of Kiss were behind it. I was like, I want that one. So I had that, and I had Boys to Men, and then I stole my mom's Fleetwood Mac CD. So when people ask me like how I sound the way I do as a singer, I feel like all those things kind of mesh together for me, and that's kind of where I'm at, which is cool and wild. But yeah, Boys to Men, I remember like buying with my own money, or my own money, whatever that meant, like maybe Christmas money or whatever.
So let's talk about Blues Run the Game, and it's by Jackson Frank, but you like the Laura Marling version. Mm-hmm. So did that come in at that time when it came out, which was 2010, or do you remember how that cycled in?
I think most of my, like a good pie section of my music taste is like sapphic lesbian singer-songwriters somehow. And we can talk about where that came from if you want.
I would like to talk about where that came from.
Yeah, well, like my sister doesn't identify that way at all, but it came from following my sister's music taste in the 90s, which was like Alanis Morissette and all of those girlies who like had an impact on my taste, I think. And now I gravitate. Now I've like I put Muna on there. And like there's this other, the Japanese House and all these other girlies that I like. It's just where I find myself. So Laura Marling is like adjacent to that community. And Blues Run the Game, I mean, that Yeah, that lyric is just great. And then, I'm like nerdy. So I'm like, I wonder if that's a cover. And so I went to read the lyrics and it took me to Jackson Frank, right?
Jackson Frank, yeah. And it was from 1965. So how much older is your sister?
She's 3 years older than me.
3 years older. And were you close?
Yeah, very close. We're very close.
Okay, so she was 3 years older. Yeah. And did she win bingo and have a CD player?
She got one because I got one, I think. Something like that.
You got yours first?
I think so.
So would you go raid her CD?
No, my mom was so democratic that if she got it, I got it too. So we were kind of chasing the same music journey together. Whether or not we received the same information from the same person or how that music came to be was kind of all TBD. This was also like when TRL was happening, which we would watch after school. So like music videos informed our music taste. So I can remember like my sister and I both getting obsessed with Red Hot Chili Peppers, for instance, like Californication came out because there was probably some like crazy video on MTV and we were like, these are bops. So like we both had Californication, we both had Jagged Little Pill, we both had. We're going for it, right? You want the history?
That's all I want.
So not so much me, but later my sister took a little Incubus jaunt into that realm, like a little bit more like emo rock pop, I guess.
Like when she was in high school?
Yes, when she was in high school, and like her and her other girlfriend would like go follow them and go hang out. And because she liked Incubus, I liked Incubus. So there was like a section where like I was listening to like Incubus, Jimmy Eat World, Audio Slave randomly, which I know drove my mom nuts because that was like maybe the closest I got to like rock.
I don't know from Audio Slave.
You might recognize like one tune that charted from them and like Foo Fighters and that kind of realm. So like I feel like my music taste has gone in many, I've had many different chapters, but a lot of it was informed by my sister and what she listened to and what her friends listened to. And she has really good music taste. She always has.
Let's go to Lianne Havas. Is that right?
Yeah.
You have a favorite song by her, favorite sadness song. So how did she come into your life?
We're in an era now where like streaming music will find you and kind of lead you where you're headed. And I don't know that I could put my finger on it, but I think for a while I was following the UK charts a little bit more. So like every week there'd be an updated playlist of like top 25. And for whatever reason, I continue and to be drawn to like what music is happening in the UK. And she's a British artist. And I think I just listened to her first album or one of her first albums. There's this song called Is Your Love Big Enough? And it's just like perfect fusion of like funk and jazz and rock. And then I got that album, and within that album, it's like it spans so many different genres. And I was just like, who is this amazing singer? Then I bought it on vinyl. And
do you like vinyl? Do you collect?
I do. I love vinyl. It's been tough on the road to not buy records, and B, to not have that experience.
Right.
Yeah.
How long have you been into vinyl for?
Probably about 4 or 5 years, like ever since I stopped pretending like it's an incredibly expensive hobby.
I find that even from when I started in 2021, I think I started doing it, to now, already the price of records has gone up.
It's insane.
So you said you look at charts?
So like Spotify and Apple and like a lot of other places will have a playlist that refreshes every week or every month, and then it just has the songs that are charting in those places. So there's one in the US like top 100 or top 25 or whatever. And for me, I just like put that on shuffle and kind of just listen to what's happening because I'm kind of always collecting new music. And so Lianne came to me that way, I think, too. Yeah.
Let's go to one of your favorites, who I do know, but I'm curious why you have several albums and songs, which is Chet Baker.
Chet Baker.
So when did Chet Baker come into your life?
Chet Baker came into my life, in college, we had a unit studying. So I went to school for musical theater, and part of that was like a singing, acting combo course. And we went through different genres. So at some point we had to pick a jazz song to sing. And so I started just going, looking up like male voices in jazz. And Chet, when I started listening to him, I was like, how have I not heard this beautiful, haunting, unique, singular voice? And then that album Chet Baker sings is just like no skips at all. It's perfect. And the sentiment behind all of those songs, I like certainly connected with in my 20s, and I've come back to it. And like, as you listen to it more and more, you're like, this is exactly how I felt 2 days ago, or when I broke up with my last boyfriend or whatever. So it found me when I was trying to build my repertoire as a singer, and now has kind of stayed with me.
Let's go. Let's talk the album, Amos Lee's self-titled album.
Cool.
How did that come into your life?
good question.
And what is it, what does it mean to you?
Oh man, like start to finish, that album I played in my 92 Camry. That was a hand-me-down from my mom and then later my sister. So that to me was a little bit of like angst, like a little bit of high school angst.
That's when you found it in high school?
Yeah, I found it in high school. It really spoke to me. I also feel like Amos and I, like anything he sings, I can sing. Like I feel like we have parallel vocal ranges. I can't really put a pinpoint on where it came from, but I wound up with that CD. And I remember this was a point in time where like after school, I would rather go work on my homework at like the cool coffee shop in Cleveland Heights called Phoenix Coffee, where like a lot of cool artsy, like queer people were. And I wasn't out at the time, but I think looking back, I just kind of wanted to be in an environment that wasn't high school and that wasn't my home, that like I could feel cooler. So I would go do my high school homework there, drive there, and like listen to the music, sing it in my car, drive home. Hopefully my mom will never listen to this, but like going back to like the sapphic lesbian singer-songwriters, a lot of my friends in high school were queer, female identifying visual art girlies who like, however that fell into my life, they also smoked cigarettes. So I would have an occasional naughty cigarette in my car listening to Amos Lee like, after I drank my coffee at like 16, 17.
By yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, even more so, a cigarette by yourself?
Yeah.
Did you feel so badass? Did you
Yes,
feel
absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't know. I don't even know if I was really like inhaling all the way, but like I felt there was a lot. I wanted to get out of my town and go be an actor. And I was trapped in high school. I was a kid who knew what he wanted to do, who like had some validation from the town I was in terms of like, oh, he could and should do this. And I also like went to a couple summer camps outside of my home where other people were like, oh, he could and should do this too.
Right.
And then I had to go back and sit in like trigonometry. And, I was that asshole in class that was like, okay, so when I'm in the grocery store, how is this going to help me? And the teacher would pull me over after class and she'd be like, you're not wrong, but there are kids in this class that want to be architects. I was like, great. Can they do this then? I'm good. Like, I'm really good. I really want to get out of here. So that, I think, like, that's what I think about Amos Lee is like me wanting to get out of town, me like kind of spreading my social groups out, me singing in the car, kind of admiring queer people from afar before I was ready to identify that way, and like thinking I was cool smoking a cigarette. That car smelled like Febreze, Meadows, and Rain for probably the better part of a decade. So,
okay, so let's talk about the album Pink Moon by Nick Drake. And how did that's from 1972.
Yeah. So the Garden State soundtrack, I would argue, is a catalyst for a lot of millennials' taste in music because that movie was like iconic. And I think we have Zach Braff to thank for like a lot of our taste, which like shout out. I just remember getting that album and listening to it nonstop because I think it's like maybe the first indie mix CD that was like publicly shared with everyone.
Right.
Like we all received a mix from Zach Braff and it was so good. And every one of those artists, I then went out and like sought out the rest of their library, like the Shins, the 07, and like, so that's how Nick Drake found me. And then you put that on, you listen to his sentiment and his heart and soul, and that it hits you. It's like undeniable. Like the way he's writing, the way he plays guitar, the way he examines lyric and tonality and the quality of his voice. And then on top of that, like we're talking about music that was like actually recorded and not edited down to the bone. Like we're talking about like raw, real recordings of real people's voices that like, I think I didn't know how much that spoke to me, but looking back now, thinking about all the music we consume, no wonder something like that spoke to me because I was capturing like the essence of that moment, the nuance of that moment where like a lot of what we're consuming now has gone through like 10, 15 filters before it even reaches Spotify that then modifies it even more for us to hear it, you know?
When you heard it on the Garden State soundtrack, was it a kind of a gateway drug to his music or was it mainly that song? And
I think maybe what I found was like a best of situation. So I'm also in the era where we illegally downloaded MP3s. I'm in the Napster X-torrent era.
Wasn't there LimeWire?
LimeWire, all of those. So when you found something you liked, you looked it up there and you could download their whole library. Somewhere I have a hard drive that like maybe has corroded over with just like so much music on it.
Right.
An overwhelming amount. But I think that's probably what I did is like search Nick Drake and whatever came my way. And I think it was like a best of, which actually is a great way to consume Nick Drake, I think. But Pink Moon is the album, I think. That's the one.
Let's listen to a song, or I want to listen to a song because I don't know from Nick Drake at all. What's a good song that I could listen to a little bit that would give me a sense?
I actually think title Pink Moon.
Pink Moon?
The title track.
So we're going to listen to Pink Moon from Nick Drake from the album entitled Pink Moon from 1972. Here we go. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Right.
That piano comes in. What a great song. And the rest of the album is similar. And
Great. Super great. If you're looking for an intro, I would say like look for the best of.
Okay, so this leads to a question as I'm listening to it. I always remember when I listen to the first piece of music to then ask this question. When you first hear music, do you hear music or do you hear lyrics? Or do you hear a combination of both?
That's a great question. I think maybe it's like silly for me to say I hear both, but I think I hear both.
No, that's possible, yeah.
Because that's how I approach music when I'm performing it. So like when I get given a piece of sheet music, I'm kind of consuming things at the same time to try to see why it's written, why like these certain words fit with this melody. So like I think I'm trying to crack the code of the song as opposed to like consuming one part of it at the same time.
Oh, that's fascinating.
But I will say like if I hear a lyric I like, then I'll go back and listen to like just the lyrics of the song.
So tell me about Sondheim. You have Stephen Sondheim, that is. You have So Many People from Saturday Night and also the overture of Merrily We Roll Along, which I found interesting.
Sondheim came into my life via those PBS broadcasts. Do you remember those?
Oh, totally.
Into the Woods and Sweeney Todd. I watched those as a kid with my cousin, who's my uncle. It was an actor in New York. And so they were consuming all sorts of things. And I remember watching, I think they recorded them. Like they recorded the PBS broadcast as you did. And so we watched Into the Woods. And there was a time, I think, where I blurred the actual stories of like Jack and the Beanstalk and Cinderella with the Into the Woods versions. Like there was a period of time I think where I didn't think they were separate.
Really?
Yeah. And so I definitely remember that. Sweeney Todd scared the shit out of me. I remember watching that and I remember like it actually kind of scaring me.
And you were how old?
12, maybe like 10, 12, 11, 12, something like that. Maybe younger. Yeah. So that was my first like exposure to that. And then I was in Sweeney Todd when I was 14. I played Anthony. And then I was in Merrily We Roll Along in the ensemble. There was this amazing outlet for theater in my town. So I did those two shows.
That's incredible that you did those two shows when you were like still like 14 and whatever age.
Yeah.
2 Sondheim shows.
2 Sondheims, yeah. And then like later went on and I did Sunday in the Park in 2017. So I'm like, I can die now. I met him and I got to work on a version of his show. And I mean, he's the one. He's number one. He's hard to beat and he understands the human condition and the human experience. And he also knows how to play and take a tiny seed of an idea and make it grow into a beautiful pice of art. Yeah.
That must have been a surreal experience when you were going through it.
It was insane. Yeah. It was really wild to do that production of Sunday. That was the first time. Do you know the show at all?
Oh, yes.
So in the second act, it's about Sunday in the Park with George, which is based off a painting by Seurat, a pointillist painter. Follows kind of biographical his life in the first act. And then the second act, it follows a descendant of him in the 80s as he tries to become an artist himself. And so in the beginning of the second act, there's this installation art that this modern George has made. It's called a chromolume. And in the original production, it was a pre-recorded piece of music that was meant to sound like super synthy, came out in the 80s. So they wanted to be like current at the time. When we did this production, they installed a moving art piece above the audience that had LED lights that like it ascended and descended in different patterns above them. Oh. And for the first time, they played the Chromolome music live with our full orchestra. So Michael Starobin, the orchestrator, and Sondheim came to our Sitzprobe where we sing through the score and heard this for the first time. And that was just like watching them hear that for the first time was like, I Can Die Now, truly. So like that was the first time it was ever performed live in like in a major professional production.
Okay, so let's talk about Emily King. You put her as one of your favorite artists, and you also she has one of your favorite love songs, which is Distance from the album The Switch in 2015.
Emily came to me, I think, through a friend who sent me her music and was like, this is your vibe. She's at the top of like funk, soul, like R&B singer-songwriter, like wherever those realms all mesh together, it's Emily King. And pretty soon after I got introduced to her music, I went to go see her live. And that was like the thing that hooked me. She is so full of joy, and her shows are like kind of theater in a way, in the way that she presents herself. And she like usually has a couple of backup singers, and they have these fun dances that they do together. And it is just like good music, good people, and something that's really interesting and unique to New York, I think. And nowadays, pretty much broadly, when you go to see someone live, that's when you get a picture of who their audience is. And I find myself fascinated when I show up to shows in New York City when there's diversity among generation.
Right.
So there was like, at Emily's show was like young and old, and I was like, right, like this music is so good that everyone likes it.
Yeah.
Everybody likes it. Everyone wants to show up to a show like this. And I think that's the sign of a real artist, is when like, well, not a real, just like a solid artist, maybe. Someone that's speaking to everyone. Have you ever listened to her before?
I don't know her.
Oh boy.
So should we listen to Distance, or is there another song?
Yeah, Distance. Let's put Distance on. Yeah.
So we're going to listen to the song Distance by Emily King from the album The Switch from 2015. Here we go.
Love is always better when we take time to get back to who we are. Distance makes the heart grow, even when I'm lonely. Yeah, it's such a good sentiment. And that first line of the song, she's like, hey, love, time to get up. I think you've been sleeping too long. My day started when you were still yawning. So I think it's about people that are like trying to do like a bicultural thing or in different time zones. But like it's just such a beautiful sentiment for trying to love someone from afar, I think. Yeah.
It's so many things at once,
100%.
kind of. It's scratching the itch for several different genres as I'm listening to it. And it's got such soul and groove to it.
You can see her live. That's a great way to go experience her. Yeah.
So tell me about one of your favorite artists, James Vincent McMorrow and Post Tropical.
We're covering all these voices that I think are really singular. Oh, that album, I think, also came to me, I want to say one of my friends in college who is a similar audiophile. I think like one of the best things about music is it's so easy to share now, and you didn't need to like borrow a record, or like I made a lot of mixtapes for a lot of my friends. I made a lot of CDs. I still do to this day. Like I send out a little playlist to my friends. I do. Yeah. I send out a playlist. So I think this came to me from a friend of mine. I think my friend Craig, shout out Craig. He is another British artist, someone from across the pond. One of the most unique voices I've ever heard, and very cool take on music. Another genre chameleon. This album in particular is in like, I would say, early electro rock indie type tease. I don't really know how to place it. But he also he's done other like side projects that sound way more like, I would say almost Americana, like lap steel, heavy kind of, he's had so many chapters of his career that he is an interesting artist that I think is still examining like what it means to have a sound. But Post Tropical is like, I think the album. I think it's a go-to gateway drug for him. I saw him live last summer at the Barbican in London, which was mind-blowing. And I also saw him live at, Brooklyn Steel.
What's that? Why do you have that look for that?
Okay, so this was whatever the current album was in 2017. I broke up with my like first long-term boyfriend, and we had tickets to go see this show regardless. And it was going to be, we broke up amicably. I love him so much. He's still in my life. We went to Central Park and blessed each other into the next chapters of our life. This was right before he was leaving town. He was moving out of New York. And I was like, let's go to this. It's fine. I forgot what some of the lyrics to some of those songs were. And it was all about like longing and missing each other and like sharing experiences with a loved one. And I was like, oh my God, this is so ironic. We're here. And like, I remember us just turning to each other and being like getting kind of emotional because it just felt really potent and resonant. So
you really like concerts, I guess.
Love. love going to see live music. It's so special and important. And if you like an artist, go see them live. Go see them live. It's such a singular way to consume what their message is to the world, I think, you know? And when you like just find out about an artist, like usually that means you can go see them in a more intimate venue, you know, before they get like huge and you have to go to a stadium and like elbow your way in.
That's my favorite way is when it's a smaller kind of, there's a lot of those great spaces here. And in New York, I'm sure.
I saw Sam Smith at Bowery Ballroom the night before his SNL performance that led to him like blowing up. And I remember at that concert, he was like, this is so wild. Like just a few months ago, I was literally cleaning bathrooms at, at this place where I was working. And then Disclosure found me and put me on their track. And now all this is happening. And look at him now. But like, go see the people you want to see. Like I went to go see Sam Smith because I liked how he sounded on that one Disclosure track.
Max, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And on a show day coming here.
Yeah.
I so appreciate and love talking with you.
Yeah, my pleasure.